Hey everyone, my name is Rebecca Dietrich and I'm a public health education major. Today we will talk about lung cancer. First we'll talk about the two types of lung cancer. Lung cancer is defined by how it looks under the microscope. The first type of lung cancer is called non-small cell lung cancer. Non-small cell lung cancer accounts for 80% of lung cancers. The other 20% are classified as small cell lung cancer, and you can see the differences in the picture I've left on the slide. Next, we'll talk about the history of lung cancer. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States. It's also the most common cancer worldwide. According to the CDC, almost 216,000 Americans were diagnosed with lung cancer in the past year. This is also called the incidence rate. Almost 156,000 Americans died from lung cancer this past year, which is also known as the mortality rate. There are currently 415,000 Americans living that have been diagnosed with lung cancer. This is called the prevalence rate. Lung cancer has cost the United States $13.4 million in lost productivity due to early death. Next, we'll talk about the risk factors for getting lung cancer. The risk factors are smoking, being exposed to secondhand smoke, age, being over 65, exposure to asbestos and radon, genetics, and family history of lung cancer. Next, we'll talk about the symptoms of lung cancer. Although few symptoms accompany early-stage lung cancer, here are some symptoms that are characterized: coughing, chest pain, coughing up blood, shortness of breath, wheezing, anorexia, weight loss, and weakness. Next, we'll talk about the causes of lung cancer. Smoking causes the majority of lung cancer. 90% of lung cancers are a result of tobacco use. Tobacco smoke contains over 4,000 chemical compounds, which most have been found to be carcinogenic. Next, we'll discuss how lung cancer is diagnosed. There are 3 ways to diagnose lung cancer: medical history, physical exam, and imaging test. There are 4 types of imaging tests that can be used: an X-ray, a CT scan, an MRI, and a PET scan. I've shown an example of one of the imaging tests, which is a CT scan. Next, we're going to talk about the stages of lung cancer. There are 4. Non-small cell lung cancer has 4 stages. Stage 1 is where it's in the lung only. Stage 2 is where it's in the lung and nearby lymph nodes. Stage 3A is in the lungs and the lymph nodes on the same side of the chest where lung cancer was found. And 3B is lung and lymph nodes on the opposite side of the chest where the cancer began growing, or the lymph nodes above the collarbone. Stage 4 is cancer in both lungs or around the lungs and in distant organs. Small cell lung cancer has 2 stages. The first stage is limited. This is where the cancer is in the lung and lymph nodes around the lung. The second stage is extensive. This is where the cancer is in the lung or both lungs, the lymph nodes on the opposite side of the chest, in fluid around the lung, in bone marrow, or in distant organs. Next, we'll talk about the ways to treat cancer. There are several ways to treat lung cancer. The most common way is to surgically remove the cancer. This is usually done in early stage cancer that has been contained. Another treatment is chemotherapy. Chemotherapy attacks rapidly growing cancer cells. The goal of chemotherapy is to slow the growth of cancer cells. Lastly, there's radiation therapy. This uses high-energy radiation, X-rays and gamma rays, to shrink tumors or kill cancer cells. There are so many lung cancer nonprofits that are working effortlessly to prevent future lung cancer deaths. There are 3 that I found most helpful. These were the Lung Cancer Alliance, the Lung Cancer Circle of Hope, and Brittany's Battle. Next, let's look at the Healthy People goals for 2020. The goals are to reduce the number of new cancer cases as well as illness, disability, and death caused by cancer. The objectives are to reduce the number of lung cancer deaths by 10%. I've attached a picture of a graph of the state-level data for North Carolina for lung cancer deaths per 100,000 population. As you can see, we're in the decline, but there's still more work to be done. Lastly, I will show you the sources where I gather my information. Thank you for watching.